Now,
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
6:06, sweet child of mine. Thanks for tuning in here to O'Connor and Company on this fine Monday morning in your nation's capital. It's the 13th day of May, and we're just getting started. Actually, that's not true. We started an hour ago. Where have you been? Coming up later in the program at 7:05, Joe DeGenova will join us. At 7:35, Steve Malloy, Junk Science on the latest environmental wacko agenda. And at 8:05, Tom Bevan, Real Clear Politics on what this election year is looking like. Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you.
Day after. The trial of Donald Trump continues in New York City. Have you noticed media outlets are starting to wean off of the whole hush money thing? They're starting to. I noticed.
I think you started it.
Fox News. I'd like to claim credit for this by continuously saying it here in Washington, D.C., which is kind of a major media hub. But I have noticed significantly that Fox News is no longer doing it.
Good.
They were for quite some time. And now they are not. I caught National Review had put out a tweet of an Andrew McCarthy column over the week, I think on Friday or maybe Thursday, and used it in the tweet. It wasn't in the headline of the actual article. It wasn't in Andrew McCarthy's text of the column. And so I sort of publicly shamed them for it.
Well, you know.
Because it's buying into a mainstream media, corporate media narrative that is false.
Right.
And the bottom line is it's just false.
Right.
It's just false. It is not. Anyway, that said, the New York trial continues of Donald Trump over the allegations that he falsified business records. And last week, of course, was the big Stormy Daniels week, which, again, Stormy Daniels had nothing to do with the financial records, had nothing to do with whether things were called legal fees. Her testimony was completely gratuitous and unnecessary.
More evidence is the Soviet-style show trial.
Yes. It's only necessary if, in fact, you recognize that it's not about the law, or justice, it's about politics. Politically, probably could be damaging to have this pornographic movie star saying that she had this alleged illicit affair with Donald Trump. Even though, by the way, the whole point of this trial is that she signed a non-disclosure agreement that verified under oath that she did not have an affair with Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So she either lied then under oath or she lied this week under oath. It's one of those things that can't be proven because there were only two people in the room.
And the prosecution just really shocks me that they even called her because she wasn't helpful. Even at one point they said something like, "Do you know about his finances?" And she said, "No, I don't know anything about it. Why would I?"
Right. Exactly.
Again, proving there was no reason to have her on the stand.
Yeah, even the judge was like, I'm not sure whether this was necessary, but we're going to allow it anyway. Of course they are. Of course they're going to allow it. Today, actually, Michael Cohen, this is, really the only witness needed in this entire thing is Michael Cohen. He was the one who received the payment. It was identified on the accounting submission by the Trump, I guess before there was a campaign, it was actually on the accountants, as legal fees.
Yeah, because in the drop down, there weren't many choices, so they just put legal fees because he's a lawyer and he was giving some legal advice, so makes sense.
So that should be interesting testimony. By the way, if anyone else, one other aspect of this, because I want to get to this Stormy Daniels thing, but if anyone's actually thinking that this is about the law and about, no one is above the law and this is about justice, this is about criminal behavior, which is 8 years old, by the way. But now after the feds and everybody else passed on it, Alvin Bragg in the DA's office, who just hired the number 3 political appointee in Joe Biden, Merrick Garland's Justice Department, to be the prosecutor on it.
Right.
And he says, hey, maybe this is a crime. And now here we are. Who is Michael Cohen, the big star witness today, formerly Trump's lawyer? He has been jailed for perjury. Now he's going to be the star witness. Who's his lawyer? Lanny Davis.
Oh, my God.
Lanny Davis is Michael Cohen's longtime Clinton crony. Lanny Davis.
It's all a club.
Is the lawyer for Michael Cohen, the star witness. So, but no, it's really about the law.
Right.
It's It's not about politics. I don't know. Maybe it's me, but if I'm accused of perjury, Lanny Davis is a very talented guy here in Washington, D.C. He's the fixer, right? Mm-hmm. He was Bill Clinton's fixer. He's a Clinton crony. He went to college with both of them. He's well connected. I like the guy personally. Met him often, socialized with him at times. But let's just be clear here. If I'm ever like facing criminal charges, I'm not calling Lanny Davis. That's not his specialty. Okay, his specialty is politics, not criminal behavior. And, well, of course, Michael Cohen, he's also, by the way, in the process of pitching a reality show. Michael Cohen is.
Of course.
And
he's profited handsomely from this trial.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
I say it all the time. Everyone who calls, pro-Trump people in the media or in politics grifters, oh, they don't really like Trump. They're only there to make money. I assure you, there's a whole lot more money, easy money, to be made by opposing Donald Trump in this town than supporting Donald Trump. All right, let's get to this, though. Stormy Daniels, during her testimony last week, suggested in no uncertain terms that she didn't just have an affair with Donald Trump, that he basically assaulted her, that he put her in a position where she could not refuse. A Harvey Weinstein situation, a Me Too situation.
Yeah.
Well, Bill Maher, on his television program, Real Time on HBO, he heard that and it didn't quite sound right because he actually interviewed Stormy Daniels 6 years ago, because everybody was interviewing Stormy Daniels. It was 2 years into the Trump presidency.
She's the darling.
She was going to bring down the president, right, with Michael
Finally.
Avenatti.
Right.
Well, listen to this interview. It's bleeped, of course, because it's for young ears, but you'll get the gist.
And first I asked her why she had sex with Trump. Listen to that, and then listen to what she says after that, and then we're going to talk about the trial, because it's quite at variance of what she said to me in 2018. Why did Donald Trump?
I have no idea.
Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean, I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced or blackmailed. They tried to shove me in the Me Too box to further their own agenda. And first of all, I didn't want any part of that because it's not the truth, and I'm not a victim in that regard.
That's not what she's saying now. She's talking about he was bigger and blocking the way. It's all the Me Too buzzwords. She said there was a imbalance of power, for sure. My hands were shaking so hard. She said she blacked out. Blacked out? She's a porn star. I don't think sex...
That doesn't mean she's been subjected to the likes of Donald Trump. I might black out too.
Do you really think she blacked out? I mean, a porn star is used to having sex with people she does not know. That's the job. It's kind of like Stormy Bob Stormy.
Yeah, and of course, there was a laugh line from one, lib on the panel there, but it doesn't hold water. It may be good for a joke, but not for, proving a case. And that is a major problem. I hope that the Trump people certainly bring that up during their time on the to present their case in defense of Donald Trump, because the story she told the jury is at odds with every public utterance she told back then. And real fast, there was absolutely no political or public relations impediment for her to claim. In fact, she would have been even a bigger cause celeb if back in 2018 she claimed that Donald Trump had coerced her into having a relationship. But she didn't make that claim then. Yeah, but now she is.
Well, she is, but she's sort of run her course, and now she's reemerging. And who else reemerged recently? Christine Blasey Ford, who is now going to profit from a book, and she's done this sort of book tour and this media tour, right? And she's sort of, again, the darling of the left. And I think Stormy Daniels knows that if, she's going to reemerge as this hero of the Me Too movement, that's really the only place she can go. So it was a little bit of Christine Blasey Ford cosplay. I'm sure she's looking for a book deal. She wants to go on The View and be cooed at by all those insane women on The View, and you get it. So she's just trying to get another bite at the apple.
It sure sounds like she's lying.
Well,
it's almost like
but again,
a porn star and prostitute isn't trustworthy. It's weird. All right, a little bit more, and almost like they'll do literally anything for money, like anything for money. We'll get a little bit more into that, and also about what to expect from Michael Cohen and some revelations.
We won't get that into that, but
we're not getting into that part of that.
We'll cover this issue again.
Right. we'll leave that to some of the other shows down the dial.
WMAL.
Making sense of the news.
Live.
From the home Paramount Pest Control Studios.
Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
News is brought to you by New Look Home Design.
WMAL, making sense of social media because big tech can't be trusted. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
Yeah, it is really telling that Bill Maher, and here's the thing, everyone, Bill Maher is turning conservative. No, he's not. Bill Maher, as I've said before, Bill Maher wants a life where he can make a lot of money, have sex without any strings attached with whatever pretty girl he wants in L.A., and smoke weed. And he's terrified of the Me Too movement. He's terrified of all of that stuff because, so that's why this Stormy Daniels thing is like, hold on a minute. I asked her specifically right here on the show, here's the clip 6 years ago. She denied that there was any Me Too aspect of this, that there was no coercion, nothing like that. And now 6 years later, under oath, she's saying it and trying to, ruin this man's life. Bill Maher sees his own life flash before his eyes. That's why he features this thing. But, here's the thing. The truth is the truth. And what is the truth? Well, you got to judge people based on their track record, based on their past, based on their credibility. Would Stormy Daniels go so far as to lie for money or whatever? And one has to then look at her character and her credibility. And, well, what else has she done in the past to make money? And she's been willing to, let's just call it, debase herself in every possible way. Yeah. For a paycheck. So why is it a stretch to suggest that she would lie? I mean, and again, what was stopping her, if this is the truth, that she was coerced into a relationship by Donald Trump in that encounter, he was bigger and I blacked out. What was the downside of her revealing all of that 6 years ago when he was president of the United States?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and it's
nothing. In fact, it would have made sense if that were true. It would have made more sense for her to say it then.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I don't know who this guy is on Twitter. Well,
let's quote him then for sure.
But it's interesting that he goes into he has one of these anonymous accounts, Inner City Press. I'm not sure who he is, but he goes into her past comments, and it's clear that originally Stormy Daniels was involved with Donald Trump because Donald Trump had made some passing comment about her maybe going on The Apprentice.
Oh yeah, that was part of her testimony last week. That there was discussion. Oh, you should come on The Apprentice, and she says, well, they would never have a porn star on.
And Trump's
like, trust me,
no,
it'll work. You kidding? Ratings gold. So no, that's 100% true. She was trying to get on Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah. So looking at her character, I mean, this woman has been transactional from the beginning.
Yep.
She has been looking for Okay.
That's sort of by definition.
Well, I know. Yes.
What a porn star prostitute does.
Yes, but they certainly are not presenting her that way.
Oh, yeah.
Today.
And then there's this, our friend Greg Price, who does some great media analysis and finds quite a bit of hidden gems out there, points out this development on Friday, I think it was, this story broke. Always on a Friday, isn't it?
Always.
One of the paralegals working in prosecutor Alvin Bragg's office admitted on the stand Friday that in the Trump trial, his office deleted 3 pages worth of phone calls between Stormy Daniels' lawyer and Michael Cohen. Not only that, but they submitted the call records into evidence, but didn't mention to Trump's team that some of the files had been deleted. Now, this was in a hearing about evidence and what should be admitted and what should not. But this is prosecutorial misconduct. Listen, files get deleted.
Yeah.
It happens. But you don't hide that fact.
You let the other
from
side
the
know.
defense. Yeah. The defense is, again, it's a delay tactic. No, this is about due process. This is about rights. Everybody deserves a fair trial. And once again, the defense attorney of Donald Trump is challenging this evidence that the prosecutors are putting forward, saying that the deletion of some of the toll records between Kevin Davidson and Michael Cohen after the defense submitted recordings between the two from 2018. Paralegal admitted that they deleted some call records from the files. And also got this guy to confirm that some of the calls were removed from an exhibit of calls between Gina Rodriguez and Dylan Howard. Both said it was 3 pages worth of records. That's evidence tampering. That's the definition of evidence tampering.
It is.
We'll ask Joe DeGenova about this coming up at 7:05. I think that's most of what we've got here today in the trial. But this is it. The Michael Cohen testimony will be the testimony. You call into question Stormy Daniels' credibility, and then you get to call in Michael Cohen's credibility. So Stormy Daniels will literally do pretty much anything for a buck.
Yeah.
Because that's definitionally what her profession is. And Michael Cohen is just fresh out of jail for lying under oath. And he's going to be providing the testimony today. So.
He will also do anything for a buck.
And he will also do anything for a buck. Although I don't know if he'll do exactly what Stormy Daniels did.
I believe he would.
Well, he is a lawyer.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:37 now on O'Connor and Company this Monday morning. It's the 13th day of May. And we're kicking a little booty. I'm not gonna lie. Booty is being kicked. Coming up at 7:05, Joe DeGenova will be our guest. 7:35, Steve Malloy of Junk Science. It's the Energy and Environment Legal Institute. And then at 8:05, Tom Bevan of Real Clear Politics. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock.
Good morning.
Booty being kicked?
Yes,
you kicking booty?
For sure.
You going to help me kick booty? All right. It's commencement season. And strangely, some schools have actually invited people who are not crazy left-wing liberal whack jobs to give a commencement address. Glenn Youngkin, in fact, down in Richmond, was invited to give the commencement for Virginia Commonwealth University. Probably makes sense. It's quite an honor. He's a governor of the state of Virginia right there. And so here's what it sounded like.
The distinct privilege it is to join you this morning to honor and congratulate the class of 2024. I could not think of a better day to celebrate
Now, all of those cheers right in the middle of the speech had nothing to do with Governor Youngkin's delivery or the suit and tie he was wearing. He looked very snazzy, by the way, and very sharp. And they weren't celebrating the fact that he made such a great selection for the ambassador to Virginia's wine country. That would be me. No, they were all screaming and cheering because a sizable number of people, graduates, got up and walked out in protest. That's the thing now. The second think about the whack jobs and liberal lunatics that constantly get asked to do a commencement address. And
yeah,
I assure you there are plenty of people in that audience who do not like or agree with that person, but they maintain their dignity, they swallow their pride, and they sit there and they don't create a scene.
and they try not to ruin it for other graduates.
Thank you. And yet here we go. And what's so objectionable about Glenn Youngkin as the commencement speaker? I couldn't tell you. I have no other than he called in the police to stop the pro-Hamas protests. Perhaps maybe that's why they did it. They all walked out.
He's a Republican, Larry,
and he's a Republican, of course. They said they were demonstrating support for Palestinians,
of course,
and also protesting the governor's.
None of these students could find it on a map, Israel on a map, or any country in that region on a map. But they're
By the way, listen to the Washington Post right up here. Again, this is once you see the media bias, you can't unsee it. VCU students who walked out said they were demonstrating support for Palestinians, not Hamas, of course, just the Palestinians, and protesting some of the Republican governor's crusade against efforts to promote racial equity in education.
It's just like they're just going to throw a big pot. It's like just anything goes.
Right, but the Washington Post writer, the reporter, the journalist, this is not an opinion piece.
Right.
And there weren't quotation marks around crusade against efforts to promote racial equity.
No, it was his words. You're right.
That's the reporter's words.
Of course.
The reporter's description of Glenn Youngkin not wanting divisive, racist, critical race theory
in
curricula
schools.
In public schools is characterized and described by the reporter as his crusade against efforts to promote racial equity in education.
Unbelievable.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely perfect. But meanwhile, even worse.
But I do love the two totally separate issues, like equity in education and Palestine
and Hamas.
And we're just going to join forces, these two totally disparate issues, and because they don't really believe in anything.
Meanwhile, down at Duke University, they snagged a bona fide Hollywood star. And usually when you get a Hollywood star, it's like, oh, really? Why do I have to sit through this person? But here they got somebody who's universally beloved, probably had a huge impact on the class of 2024 as they were graduating because they grew up with this guy in their homes and certainly watched him in reruns. And he's a bona fide genius, Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And I don't know. If you're going to get a celebrity to speak at your commencement, have it be someone like Seinfeld who knows how to deliver remarks.
Right.
He's going to be funny.
Also kind of avoids politics. I mean,
right.
To some degree.
Lately he hasn't.
Well, lately he hasn't. Although what he's involved is in saying we shouldn't rape women and kill civilians. I don't know that that's very political.
To be fair, I mean, over the last couple of years, he has been against speech codes on campus.
Sure.
He has said he won't play a college campus anymore because of the speech codes, because of, you know,
I get it.
People see that as political. I don't. I see it as championing free speech.
And championing common sense and civility and, like, let's get back to being normal people.
But those aren't the reasons why at his commencement
course.
address, Duke University students walked out. They walked out because he's Jewish.
That's right.
Because he's Jewish.
Yep.
And supports Israel.
Our commencement speaker today. So, what's the big deal about our commencement speaker?
Now, I've watched this video a few times. I think that most of the people are booing the students who got up and walked out. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a huge number. But Seinfeld wasn't being booed, in my opinion. I could be wrong. You tell me if you've seen the video.
I think you're right.
I think they're booing the handful of people who walked out. And I've watched there's nothing political in the speech. It's actually got some real words of wisdom.
Yep.
Jerry is a class act, and he comported himself in a classy way. But, of course, that doesn't get any sort of celebration.
No, but it really is interesting that they walk out and and claim that they're walking out to support Palestine. Why? Because he's Jewish.
Yeah,
it's anti-Semitism.
By the way, back over to the Youngkin. There were 1,200 graduates. Estimates are about 100 of them walked out, so less than 10% walked out. Fine, make your reservations. Some of them had keffiyeh scarves.
Of course.
Some of them had signs. One said "Teach Black History." And the other said, book bans do not equal respect for learning, with a little do not equal sign, right?
Yeah, of course.
Book bans.
Yes.
Just point of clarification, not wanting hardcore pornographic images in the hands of elementary school children.
Yeah, and while you can still get these hardcore pornographic books on Amazon and your local bookseller.
But we just not wanting to use some
don't
judgment.
Want them in
to have
middle school.
In fact, and Glenn
school.
Youngkin hasn't even said that. He's just said, hey, let the parents decide. Yeah. And if parents don't want those books, then they shouldn't be there. That's his position. That's not a book ban, kids. But they just graduated with college degrees. Do you feel good? Yeah. It's 6:44. Who gave the commencement address at your college graduation? Do you remember?
God, don't ask me that.
Exactly. See, who remembers this stuff?
No idea.
Veronica at the Naval Academy got Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Mm-hmm. He did a good job. My daughter Quinn graduated UCLA School of Theater and Film. She got Troy Kotsur. He's the deaf actor who just sort of made it big a couple of years ago. He got an Oscar nomination as a for that movie.
Oh,
and and for my daughter, it was a big deal for our family because Quinn has a disability.
Yeah.
EJ uses sign language and stuff, so it was cool. And it was school for theater and film, so it's like so we lucked out. We lucked out, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Lloyd Austin, but given the choice of the other two people we could have gotten
Buttigieg.
Well, Kamala.
Oh, well, yeah.
Or Biden. So no, it worked out well. Meanwhile, the whole point of having Jerry Seinfeld is, well, that's cool. It's memorable. Yeah. You can talk about it. And, well, listen, this is what the dirtbag pro-terrorists who walked out, this is what they missed.
What a beautiful day. What a beautiful class. We love you guys. I am here today at the gracious invitation of President Price and the Duke Board of Trustees because after spending 4 years at what is considered one of the finest institutions of higher education in the world, they apparently feel that perhaps some light entertainment will get you all to the final realization, I think I've really had enough of this place. Let's bring in a comedian. Let's bring the sophistication and erudition of the Duke experience down a couple notches. And I thought maybe that does make sense. Maybe the thinking was what we really want is to just get these kids the hell out of here. What would give them that last final push? Because what you might not be fully aware of is that the entire time you have been at this wonderful university, we have been meeting and talking to other kids that we would like to replace you with. Not because we weren't happy with you, not at all. You have been great. It's just, we wanted to see what's out there. I don't want to say exactly how many kids we talked to. It's roughly this many. And we met a lot of wonderful kids, a lot. Was there a time when we were thrilled to have you come here to learn, grow, and flourish? Of course there was. That time has passed.
Just a taste of it. It goes on for about 15,
Such
60
his
minutes.
style.
Yeah. By the way, one other thing. Riley Gaines gave the commencement address over the weekend as well. And when she went up there, she didn't discover this until later, and she watched the video, but when she went up there, one of the faculty members behind her took out a trans flag and draped it over his little cape there behind her back. And then when she was finished and she turned around to take her seat, he had put it away. Coward is the word.
Oh, wow.
Coward is the word. Check out Riley Gaines on X, and you can see the picture of it. It is 6:52.